So thank you so much for being here today. We're really looking forward to this exciting session, learning about your future career in state government. We have special guests here, quite a few reps from the state of California, Department of Housing and Community Development. So with that, again, my name is Corey White. I'm with the SNHU career team here in employer relations. So very excited to bring this session to you today. And if you could keep yourself on mute during the presentation, and we will have a nice Q&A at the end as well. So let's get it rolling here. Your accessibility and inclusivity is very important to us here in creating that learning environment for you all. So if you do have needs, you can reach out to the following departments. For online students, you can contact the OAC at oac@snhu.edu. For campus students, it would be the CAC at snhu.edu. And for SNHU staff and faculty, you can reach out to our HR department. And also, there's a bunch of different ways you can connect with us here at SNHU within the career department and continue the conversation after this session. You can connect with us on SNHU Connect and all of the different social, websites as well that we have available, and also the online center, Career Center at SNHU Career 360. So we have a bunch of curated resources on that site for you that are dedicated to within every major that we have available here at SNHU. And with that, I am going to introduce our guest of honor from the California Department of Housing and Community Development. And Christopher, if you want to introduce yourself, get the slide deck up, and as well as your other colleagues. Take it away.
Thanks so much, Corey. I really appreciate it. Hello, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. Give me just a moment to be able to pull up our presentation here. So if I could please get a thumbs up that everybody can see. It says California Department of Housing and Community Development hiring presentation. Thank you, Meha. I see that. Okay. All right. So everybody can see that. Fantastic. So before we get started, just a few housekeeping rules. The first thing is I did want to take a moment and introduce two of my teammates. So first with us is Meha Singh. She will be one of the people who you will see answering questions that are in the chat. And the other one is my other coworker, which is Michelle Castro. So both of them will be manning the chat today. Speaking of the chat, while this presentation is going on, the presentation normally goes from anywhere between 25 to 30 minutes. While the presentation is going on, please feel free to drop any questions that you have. It's perfectly fine. We just ask that any question that you have that is related to anything that we are presenting, that you allow for either Michelle or Meha to be the only ones answering those questions. We ask that because we want to make sure that you are getting the most accurate information, and so we just ask that none of the students would respond to those. Allow for us to. If there's a question that gets missed, or maybe one of my teammates might say, this might be a great question to ask out loud so that other people can, hear, or maybe it's a long, detailed one. Just know that we will have plenty of time on the back end for our Q&A, and we're happy to take your questions then. Once the presentation is done, you can use the raise hand function. We will call on you in the order that we see it, and then you'll get your question answered. Okay, yeah, so I think that is it. We'll go ahead and start the presentation, but like I said, feel free to ask your questions along the way. All right, so starting a career with the state, and especially with our specific department, which is Housing and Community Development, you'll see the acronym HCD. A lot is as easy as 1, 2, 3. So I'll be walking you through the three-step process, which is creating an account, taking an exam, and then you can start applying for jobs. So that first step is creating a CalCareers account. So if you're in front of a computer right now and you want to follow along with me, that's perfectly fine. You could see the address there on your screen, www.calcareers.ca.gov. And once you get there, you'll see, if you haven't already created an account, you see circled on the screen 2 different places where you can click to create your account. Once you create your account, it should look something like this. You'll see right there in the middle where you will have your own CalCareers ID and email, your name, address, and phone number. Just make sure that we have a good working email and phone number so that we're able to contact you if need be. And I also do want to draw your attention to the left side of the screenshot here, so you could see that there are several things there. I just want to highlight just a few of them. I won't be going over all of them. You can take your time and definitely look through all of these. But the first thing that I did want to point out is under the templates and documents thing. The first one you see, it says application template. So the state has created a way to try to make you going through this process quicker. So they allow for you to have these templates, because many of you that are applying are eligible for multiple classifications. So you can have one that's for like a staff service analyst, or maybe like a manager, maybe an office technician. So just know that there are many different templates that you can create that will make the hiring process quicker. Right under there, you see uploaded documents. This is an important place because here you could store your resume. You may have just a general cover letter that you may want to put there. Also, I can tell you it is very helpful for you to put your transcripts there, because many of the jobs will require you to have your transcripts. So it's good that you can have them. Save them right there under the uploaded document section, and then they're ready and accessible for you. And like I said, there's job applications there where you can see which jobs that you applied for. There's saved jobs right under there where I can show you where, if you, instead of wanting to like go in and apply for a bunch of jobs, you could just save them and then go back to them later on. Yeah, so just take a moment after you create your account and go over here, and you can see many other helpful things. Like even towards the bottom, there are helpful resources, tutorial videos, and stuff like that, and that may answer some of your questions. Now, going on to exams, because many of you may have heard that in order to work for the state, you need to take and pass an exam. But the first thing that we do want to let you know is that you don't need to take or pass an exam in order to apply for a job. You can always apply for any job and then come back and take the exam later. The way that you would do that is like this. So you would go into a specific job page. Up at the top, you see outlined in a red box where it says apply now. You would click there. And then you see that there are 3 different options here. First one says, I have eligibility. Second one says, I want to obtain. And third one says, I don't know. So if you are looking to just apply, but you want to come back and take the exam later, you would just click that first box. It says, I have eligibility. Once you click there, it'll just lead you on with the rest of the application, and you can go ahead and apply like normal. But if you want to take the exam first just to make sure, and you're saying, hey, I don't want to apply for a job if I don't know that I have the eligibility for it, that's perfectly fine. That's where you would click that second option. Either the second or third option will lead you to the same place, which is here on the screen. I just made a screenshot of it. If you click that second option, it'll bring up a box that, and where it says Housing and Community Development Representative 2, that is where you would click. It would be a hyperlink, and that hyperlink is going to take you to where you could take the exam. Just so you know, many, if I know not all, but like almost all of our exams are online. So you could just go to the exam page, scroll down. It'll give you some information about the exam. I will also tell you that there are practice exams, or it'll tell you like this is what kind of exam that it will be, because you do need to know that some exams are like an exam. So, math problems, English problems, word problems. And then other exams are kind of like self-examination. So it'll just ask you how long you've been doing a particular task. Okay. So that's all about exams, real briefly. But again, if you have questions about that, please feel free to put them in the chat. So if you've already created your account and then you did the exam portion, or again, if you just wanted to start looking for jobs, you would go to advanced job search. You see at the top there, it says keyword. So that keyword box kind of works like a Google search bar. Essentially, whatever word that you put in there, it's going to bring up every a job page that has that specific word. So I will tell you that if you only put in, like, let's say you're looking for an analyst job, so you just put in keyword analyst and you hit enter, it's going to bring up a lot of different jobs, probably about 300 jobs. So we always would recommend that you use the other filters. I'm not going to go over each one. You can kind of see what they are, but I will highlight a few. One of the most important ones that I see is location. And location is important because, again, as I stated, if you just put in the keyword analyst, note that when you're looking for a state job, you're applying for the state of California. That's from Sacramento down to San Diego. So if you only do that without a location, you may see Sacramento, Fresno, Los Angeles. So we always recommend, just to make sure that you're getting the results that may be the best for you, put in the location. It goes by county, so put in the either the biggest county nearest you, so that you could have the locations that are closest to you. And then besides that, like I said, there's many different filters that you can use. You can search by job category. If you know the classification, you can search by that. Another big one is that many people want to know about is telework. So you see here that you could also search for ones that are in office, which ones are hybrid, and which ones are actually true telework. So just when you go to this advanced job search page, just know that there are many filters you can use. The more filters that you use, the less results that you will be able to find, and then complete your job search. Now, let's say that you did want a staff service analyst job, which is one of our most popular classifications. So many people have heard of the staff service analyst, otherwise known as an SSA. So I did a screenshot just to kind of show you what it would look like. So notice that all four of the classifications say staff service analyst, but notice that the working titles are very different for each one. So the working title gives you like a little bit of a peek of like what in general would I be doing. So first one you see, it says mediator, first one says recruitment coordinator. So always pay attention to those working titles. You'll also notice that we do have the salary ranges on there. So just know that that rate that you see at the beginning is the entry rate, and then it goes up to that final number. I also do want you to pay attention to where it says work type and schedule. Notice that the first two say permanent full-time, but then under that it says limited term full-time. So permanent full-time is just that. That would be your regular 40 hours a week, Monday through Friday in general type of work. But the limited term full-time is just that. It is limited term. That oftentimes departments will use limited term for, like, maybe if they have a big project, or maybe somebody went out on maybe like a maternity leave or something like that. So just know the advertisement will say in general these go anywhere between 12 and 24 months. Also know that there is no guarantee that these jobs will roll to be permanent. So if you are taking a limited term position, just know that there is a possibility that once you reach the end of that term, you will have to apply for a new job. But it could also be maybe some of you on the call are looking for that. You are looking just for a limited term position. So this may work for you. Or also know, just because you take a limited term position, that doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing. You are still working, so you are still getting a paycheck, and you're also gaining experience. So you could take that limited term, start working, get that experience about what the state is about and what this job is about. And then even while you're in that position, keep applying for permanent full-time positions, okay? I also do want to draw your attention to what I talked about on the last page where I talked about location. Notice that first one says Los Angeles County, second one says Fresno County, third one says Orange County, then we have Sacramento County. So again, if you want to make sure that you're only seeing the ones that are closest to you, you definitely want to make sure that you change that location. Now, if you look on the right-hand side, it says filing deadline. So for this screenshot I took, the filing deadline is today. So any date that you see in there, note that that means that you have until 11:59 p.m. on that date to get the application in. Once 12 a.m. hits, you will no longer be able to apply for that job. So we always recommend that if you're doing a job search and whatever the filing deadline is, we always recommend do not wait for that final day. We always recommend if you see a job and you like the job, go out for the job, especially if you have plenty of time, because the worst thing that you could do is to see that filing deadline, say, and let's say this screenshot said like 11:27 or something. So you're like, oh man, I got plenty of time. I got 2 weeks, and you forget. And so you're just kind of going along, and then the 27th comes, and you're like, oh crap, I forgot I was supposed to. So you rush in here, and then you see it's asking you for a cover letter and a resume, and your internet's not working for some reason. Like, don't stress yourself out like that. If you see a job, go out for the job as soon as possible, and then you'll set yourself up for success. All right, so let's say that you did find a job that you liked, and you're like, okay, I'm ready to go out for it. So let's go over briefly what a job page looks like. So you see at the top, it gives you all the general information about the job. There's the salary, the final filing date. Under job description and duties, it tells you a little bit about the agency. It tells you under their government code about hybrid. And then under there, it even tells you a little blurb about, more about kind of what you would be doing. But if you want to know the most about what you would be doing, you would want to click where that red box is under duty statement. Now, the position's duty statement, they'll look different based on the department that you are at, but just know that each duty statement should have this information. It should have the percentage of time on the left side there. The percentages should add up to 100% of your time. And then on the right, it's going to tell you what the essential functions of your job will be. It's giving you a general idea of what you will be doing. Note again that this is just the percentage of time. This is not meaning that, for this particular job, it doesn't mean you come in and 30% of your day is doing this, 20% of your day is doing this. No, it could be that for a couple weeks, 100% of your time, you're doing you're acting as a liaison between the legislative division here. But it just gives you a general idea over the lifespan of what you would be doing. So definitely familiarize yourself with each position's duty statement, and especially if you get an interview, definitely go in, look at that duty statement, familiarize yourself with it so that you could speak to it as you're going over with the manager. Now, after you looked at the duty statement and you're like, yes, this is the job for me, I want to go out for it, you do need to click on where it says minimum requirements, because each one of the jobs for the state does have minimum requirements that you must meet. It's not just like I see a job, I like a job, so maybe they'll go for me. Note that for this particular classification, it has both an education and an experience needed. Okay, so it says for education equivalent to graduation from college, and then it says in big capital letters and then it gives you 2 ways to get in here. The first way is if you already work for the state, you'll know what you have to do. And the second way is for those who don't work for the state. So in this particular instance, you would need at least graduation from college and at least 3 years of analytical experience. Now, do note that it does say additional qualifying experience may be substituted for the required education. So what that means is, let's say that you are in school and you have not met all 4 years, but let's say you have 3 years, or let's say you have 2 years that you got your AA, but then you went to work. And so what would happen then is essentially you need 7 years combined of your school plus your experience. So if you have 7 years of experience, you would meet, or if you have, 2 years of education, 5 years of experience, that would work as well. So please familiarize yourself with these minimum qualifications. If you are kind of like, I really don't know, and you kind of think that you do, if you think that you do, then we would say go out for the job. If we have questions about it, we will definitely reach out to you. But just know to read that carefully because we don't want you to go out for a job that you know that you don't meet for. All right, so going down the page, note that each one of the jobs will have a required documents that are needed. See, for this one, you need your application. Notice that this one says resume is required and must be included. Just know resumes are not always required. So that's why you have to meet these. Sometimes it'll say resume is optional. So if you want to put on there, do that. And if not, don't. Up to you. And then it also says you need a statement of qualifications, which we'll talk about next slide. But always make sure that you're paying attention to what this requires, because some will just say all you need is your application. Other ones will say you need application, cover letter, resume, SOQ, a bunch of stuff. So you just have to make sure that you do that, because if you do not have all of the required documents, you will be disqualified. So just know that. Under there, each page will have desirable qualifications. So note that these are just qualifications that each hiring manager says what it is that they're looking for. Note that that these are desirable qualifications. It does not mean these are required. This kind of, if you read the desirables, they should give you a good idea on if you're a good fit for this job. But you may read desirables, and let's see, this one has 6 of them. And you may read those and go, okay, I have 3, but I don't have all 6. That's perfectly fine. As long as you meet the minimum requirements, go out for the job. You may read a desirable one that you don't have any of the desirables, but you meet the minimum qualifications. You should still go out for that job. But just know that the desirables you won't meet. But if you do meet, all 6 or close to that, I would definitely speak to those if you get an interview. Make sure that you are telling the manager in the interview, like, hey, you said you were looking for someone who has knowledge and experience with this. I have that. I have many years of that. Speak to that in your interview. And now we'll go over the statement of qualifications. So the statement of qualifications, or the SOQ, is a narrative discussion of your knowledge, skills, and abilities that you possess in relation to the advertisement. It's a screening tool that the manager uses to look at your writing skills, your style as an employee, and how well you can align your experience with the job that they're looking for. So I will tell you this, that of all the things that I have talked about before, the resume and the cover and all of that, I'm going to tell you right now, listen to me very carefully. Resume and the cover letter are like, yes, if they ask for that, attach it, definitely do that. The SOQ is the most important of all those documents. Okay? I'm telling you right now, managers pay very close attention to the SOQ. That is why you'll notice that most, if not all, SOQs are very particular. Notice that this one says this will be considered as your first interview. It says that resumes, cover letters, or other documents cannot substitute for the SOQ. So if there's an SOQ, you can't put under SOQ, see resume. You will be disqualified. They won't even consider you. Notice that this one says you need to number your responses, include all experience, education, training, and then you need to answer the questions thoroughly. It says it cannot exceed 2 pages, single spaced. It has to be Arial, 12-point font. So you see how particular that this is? You can't use any type of font that you want. You can't even do single space. Oh, wait, sorry. You can't do double space, sorry. And if it says it should not exceed 2 pages, they mean that. So if you turn in something that's 3 pages, you will be disqualified. Essentially, what you need to know is the managers use the SOQ to say, can you follow instructions? Because if you cannot follow these instructions, then why would I want to hire you? So that's why you have to pay attention to these very carefully. And then the final thing is to answer the questions. So for this first one, it says, what's your knowledge and experience with the Community Development Block Grant Program? So it's not asking you why you think you're the best fit. Some SOQs ask you that, but this one isn't. So for this one, if it's asking you what your direct knowledge and experience is with a particular program, you need to answer that question. And I will tell you, because many people read SOQs and they say, well, what if I don't have knowledge and experience? What if I don't have what they're asking for? Well, we would tell you then, you need to Google it. You need to do some research. You need to answer questions in the positive. You need to tell managers what you do know. Don't tell them what you don't know. So you wouldn't answer this saying, I don't have any idea what the Community Block Grant Program is. That's not a good answer. Instead, you should Google what the Development Block Grant Program is, speak to that, and then also you may even want to answer that by saying, I also have familiarity with different block grant programs, and any programs that I work with, I am a quick learner if I don't know much about them. That is a much better answer to an SOQ than I don't know and I don't have. So always speak to the positive. All right, so we're wrapping it up now. So if there are questions that either you need more clarification on, or if there's something that I did not go over, now is your time to either put those in the chat or you can raise your hand, and we will go over them as soon as I get done with these tips. The first tip is to follow specific directions on the SOQ. Answer all questions and number your responses if required. Fill out your application as completely as possible. Provide extra information to help you stand out. Remember, resumes do not take the place of an SOQ. Remember to read the entire advertisement and make sure all required documents are included. Remember, if you don't, they will disqualify you without even looking at it. This next tip is the tip that we give perhaps the most, which is to, if you're applying for the state, it could be pretty difficult at first. We will all admit to that. So you need to be applying, and you need to be applying a lot. So when we talk to people and they say, hey, I've been applying, but I haven't heard back. And we usually will say, well, how many, applications do you have out there? And oftentimes we'll hear, oh, I applied for a couple. And we're like, no, 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 no. Like, if you're applying for the state, you should have anywhere between 30 and 50 applications out. Yes, 30 to 50. You need to have that many. In essence, it's a numbers game, because you have to remember that each one of these jobs, it's very competitive. So you're going up against perhaps 50 to 100 people per job. So the more that you apply, the better your chances are in getting in front of that hiring manager's face and getting that interview. So apply a lot. Apply to 5 per night if you can, to get your resume and your application out there. Do not wait for a contact letter. Contact letters, you will find those. They will come to you in your profile. Do not wait for those. Apply for, go to CalCareers every day. If you can, you see a job, start to apply for it. Be persistent, because new vacancies are usually advertised daily. So you may go in today and look for a job and like, oh, I didn't really see what I was looking for. You can check back in a few hours and there's new jobs posted. They're posted all the time throughout the day. So if you don't see it now, check back. You can always email us at careers@hcd.ca.gov. We are always here to help. You can email. Now, if you have applied for any of our specific jobs, just jobs with housing and community development, and if it's been longer than 6 to 8 weeks, now that timeline is important, 6 to 8 weeks. The state is not like, the private sector where you can give your resume on a Friday and then expect to hear back by Monday. That's not the state. Essentially, it could take anywhere between 6 to 8 weeks to hear back. But if you have applied and you haven't heard back and it's been longer than that, then email this address, hiring@hcd.ca.gov. And they can give you an idea as far as where that is. Maybe the position has been filled, or maybe they're still doing their research. And then you can explore our webpage at www.hcd.ca.gov to educate yourself about HCD. Now, before I do pass it back to my partner Meha, I do want to briefly show you. Let's see. Our jobs page. So can I please get a thumbs up if you could see the Housing and Community Development jobs page? It shows 17. Just do a thumbs up. Okay, I see thumbs up. Very good. Okay. So these are the jobs that we currently have. Um, at our specific department, we have a classification called a Housing and Community Development Representative. So those are classifications that are only found at this agency. Okay, so those are the housing and community development reps do various things in the housing realm. So just know that when you see that classification, that's what that is. But you'll also see that we have an accounting analyst here. Here's another housing rep. We have a manager position, another housing rep, a manager. We have an IT specialist, another housing rep, manager. Here's a building and codes official. 3 more housing reps. We have an SSA that's available in our legal affairs. A program technician analyst, but just know that's in San Luis Obispo here, and that's in office, okay? We have a data analyst, which is a very popular job. I know that for sure. So if you're going to go out for that, just make sure that you do that quickly. And then we have another manager position. So we will. I have one of my teammates put, or I guess I could put this page in the chat, so you could click there and refer back to when you want to look for jobs. But I'm now going to stop sharing. I'm going to pass it over to my partner Meha, who is going to lead our Q&A. So again, if you have questions, please raise your hand or you can put those in the chat. Thanks, everybody.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Chris. That was great. Hello, everybody. Like Chris mentioned, my name is Meha Singh. I'm one of the talent acquisition analysts here, and Michelle and I will be doing a live Q&A. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand, come off mute, or you could even put it in the chat, and we'd be happy to answer it there. There was a pretty good question that actually did come up a little bit earlier, so I just want to share it with the crowd again. Someone mentioned that there's only one staff service analyst job available right now. When is the normal season or time of the year for jobs to become available? So I can say that there's no season or normal time. Here at HCD, we update our job postings daily, sometimes even hourly. So we really recommend everyone check our careers page often, because our positions are only open for maybe about like 10 to 14 days. So as soon as one closes, more could even become available. So we really don't know on our end, but all we can recommend is to check often because we post daily. So, Michelle, did you have anything to add to that?
No, that was perfect.
Okay.
That's absolutely everything you said was true. I concur.
All right. So yeah, so if anybody has any questions, feel free to raise your hand. We're happy to answer. Awesome. It seems like we have a hand raised. Yeah, if you want to come off mute, we'd be happy to hear you.
Hello, can you guys hear me okay?
Hello. Yes, we can. Good morning.
Okay, awesome. Good morning. I did take a look at the website and I did see references to exams. I know definitely for like LA County jobs as well, like taking these exams usually beforehand, before applying or having them on file is important. Seeing those exams, I'm not sure if they are relevant to specific jobs. Is it recommended to take these exams beforehand, or what they're necessarily in reference to? I'm just kind of curious about that.
Yeah, I feel like I can answer the first part of that, and then Michelle, if you want to maybe take the second part. In regards to when to take the exam, you can actually, at least on Cal Careers for our positions, It's interchangeable. If you want to apply for the job first and then take the exam, that's perfectly okay. But if you want to just get the exam out of the way, you could take the exam first and then apply as well. You will get prompted by Cal Careers. Let's say you apply first and you haven't taken the exam, but even before your first round of interviews or anything like that, Cal Careers will prompt you to take that exam. So they will give you a reminder that, hey, you have to take the exam before you move forward. So it's completely up to you if you want to apply, then exam, or exam, then apply. But Michelle, if you want to add anything to that.
99% of all, actually, no, 100% of state jobs require an assessment. And Meha is correct. You legally do not have to take the exam or assessment prior to applying for a position or positions you're interested in. However, if you want to take the exams prior to applying, that is okay as well. But if it's like a final filing date of today, let's say you see something today and you're like, oh, I meet the minimum qualifications for this, but I need to take the exam, but I have to apply before midnight. I would just apply for the position, and then when I have some free time within the week, go ahead and take it, because the two do not interlink or link at that time. They don't link at all, and nobody will see your score. No hiring managers will see your exam, any details of your exam, because that is confidential, 150% confidential. They will see your application and they will find out your score later, but they will never find out what's on your exam or assessment. So that's important to point out, that that is completely confidential. Does that help?
Yes, thank you both so much. It's really helpful.
Okay, great.
Awesome. Thank you both. All right. So I know we do have one more hand raised, but there also is a question in the chat. So I just want to answer this one first. Michelle, maybe you can help me out with this one. Kelly says, are there opportunities for employees to rotate across different departments or gain exposure to different areas of public service during their careers? I can add to, I'm fairly new to state service. I've been with HCD for a year, but I can add that, you know, my manager she has given me, you know, a lot of great skills to cross train on certain tasks. So I have learned a lot that's out of just my scope of work. But Michelle, if you want to touch upon that, and I guess in a broader
Okay.
term, if that could be
Yes,
helpful to
cross
her.
training. It depends what they're calling it, but right now I think it's called cross training. And sometimes programs, HR will put something together of that specific department, where if you want to cross train, you can, and you've got to make sure you're eligible and so forth. Sometimes they just informally offer cross training. If there's a need for a program that maybe not have enough employees, and well, would you like to cross train into that? So it's it is a possibility, and it is open for discussion, because you want to learn more, and employers love that. So yes, it is a possibility.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So Christine, I see you have your hand raised. If you want to come off mute, that'd be great.
I'm hoping that my service sticks for this question, so I apologize if it pops out. I am actually I'm a school teacher this year, and I recently discovered that public entities aren't required to pay into Cassidy. Do you guys know if the State Department pays into Cassidy, or so it's the disability program, or no?
I'm not sure about that, Michelle or
Let me,
Chris.
real quick, I have someone walking by. I'll be right back.
I know
Gas
that's a
fee,
weird
right?
question, but I have kids, and so like my oldest daughter has to have surgery, and now I'm sort of in this weird place where I can't apply for disability because I'm a public school teacher. So I was like, is this statewide?
Got it. That's a really good question. I know Michelle's just inquiring with someone in the office.
Okay. I appreciate
Okay,
it.
we
She's
pay
back.
into SDI.
Okay, awesome. That makes me so happy because I was like
Okay.
really debating whether I wanted to do state work or not. So
Yes,
that's amazing. That's great news. Okay, thank you so much.
you're welcome.
Thank you both. Okay, so I know there is a question in the chat from Andrew. Andrew, this is a really good question. I feel like this will require a little bit more of an in-depth answer. Right off the top of my head, I could probably think of, best jobs for minimal qualifications. I'd probably say like a staff service analyst. That's something Chris went over earlier. But I'm actually going to drop our careers email address in the chat. So if you can email us with this question, that'd be great. And you can send us your resume. That way we could review it on our end and we can give you the most accurate, in-depth information. We just don't
Yes.
want to provide you any other, information that's not useful right now. So let me just put our careers email address. And this goes for anybody. If anybody has any specific questions they don't feel comfortable asking right now, feel free to email us and we're happy to attend.
While you're doing that, Meha, I see Jacob asked, can you speak to any employee benefits, health and retirement? Does it vary from department to department? I just want to cover that quickly. No, it does not vary from department to department. The state of California, all the agencies are under one umbrella. We all have the same boss. We just do different things for Californians, but everything else is the same. It's wonderful. I've been at 5 different agencies. Chris has been, I think, at 6 or 7. I can't remember, but it's wonderful to be able to transfer through the state portal or metropolis, and everything stays the same. You don't have all that, oh God, I got to apply for benefits. What if they don't have this or that? And so, yes, we do have benefits. We have great benefits. We have dental, vision, health care, and even though I have Kaiser and it's going up more, it'll work out some other way, whether we get a little raise to offset that or something else. There's a lot of less costly coverages. You go to your copays are not gonna your monthly payments, your monthly will not be very, it's comparable or less than other places. Um, and I'm going to go on a limb and say less, because I've talked to a few different private sector individuals and they pay a just astronomical fee monthly for benefits. Our copays, 15, 5, 10, it depends. X-rays are free. I could go on and on. So we have different dental plans and um, vision. Our vision's free unless you want the Premier, if you wear contacts and glasses. You have 401k, you have 457k, you have, if you have, you're going to have health bills through the year, and this, there's an account where you can pay into that medical account, and it's pre-tax, so it's like you make less for the year, and then you use it during the year, and then you have like 6 months to use it after it expires. So there's a lot of opportunities. You get a personal holiday, you get 2 professional development days, which are literally 2 more personal holidays. Vacation, you start off at 8 hours sick leave, 7 hours vacation you earn each month. So I could, it's great. I've been a state employee for 32 years, and it's done me good. Do we have bells and whistles? Are you going to get a big fat bonus? Nope. But I'm not going to walk in a bad mood because I don't like what Meha's wearing and tell her boss, hey, you know what? Let her go. I'm good. And you're not going to worry about if profits aren't good, because you will always have a state job once you pass the 6-month or 12-month probation. And if that department you're working for, like we had back in the, oh, dare I say, the 80s, if a department closes down, you are priority over everybody else throughout the state to get a job that is equivalent to your abilities. And if you don't get it, there better be a darn good reason, because we take care of our state employees, is what I'm saying. So yeah, it's great. Okay, I'm done. I'm off my soapbox.
No, that was great. Thank you, Michelle. And I second everything she said. Coming from the private sector and seeing, what benefits the public sector does have to offer, they are pretty good. All right. So I see we got another message in the chat. Amber is asking, how can I confirm which exam to search for and take? Great question. Michelle, do you want to take this one?
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, you can confirm how I can confirm which exam to search for and take. There's a search engine on the www.calcareers.ca.gov. There's a search engine. So you're going to use that search engine with everything you can possibly think of to find what you are looking for. And that is what you'll do. And then you will read the minimum qualifications and see if, one, you think you have those minimum qualifications, and two, if you do, is this something you'd like to do? And if so, then you would be able to take the exam. But when you're entering your information to qualify to take the exam, meaning you meet the MQs, the computer is it's set to, if what you're listing as your skills and your experience and education does not meet the MQs, it won't let you proceed further. It'll say you don't meet at this time. Then you can reach out to us. You can reach out to Cal Careers, and to find out, if it's something you really feel you meet the MQs for, we're more than willing to help you. Definitely save our email.
Perfect. Thank you, Michelle. I'm on mute. Okay, there we go. Thank you, Michelle. And I'm going to put the advanced job search page in the chat right now, and then I will add our careers email address as well. So if you have any questions, feel free to email us, and we're happy to assist you. All right, so here's another question that came up. Anything available for tech/cybersecurity graduates? Great question. I can go ahead and post our current job openings in the chat after this. Just because, like I mentioned earlier, we post new jobs daily, so I'm unaware if we do have any tech IT jobs right now, but your best bet is to check our career site often, because we don't just post daily, sometimes we post hourly. And like Chris mentioned, they're only open for a certain amount of days. So if you see the job and you want to apply for it, go for it. Do not wait till the last minute, because there's quite a few steps you have to do in order to successfully submit that application online.
Yes. And it's not just our agency. We want you to come to our agency. We love our agency. It's a work-life balance, but we're not the only agency out there. There's tons of if you have skills or education or both, you can find a job within the state. I will 99% swear to that. And you just have to be proactive. You have to want it. You have to want it bad enough to where you get sick to your stomach because you submit so many applications. And let me tell you, I just worked with somebody yesterday. They were like, what am I doing wrong? I submitted a bunch of applications since May. So I am able to go in and check the system to see how many applications are submitted from each of you for every department. And this person submitted 49. Sounds like a lot, right? But 49 divided, I forget, oh gosh, it was like 8 a month since May. I think May. So that's not a lot. That's not a lot. It's a nice start, but you want to get in where you fit in. And some people have gotten in at an entry level. I know someone who has a bachelor's, and she was applying for SSA, staff service analyst positions, because you just need, at the time, if you have a bachelor's, you can You can apply. You meet the MQs, but she wasn't getting a position. So I suggest, and I suggest to all of you as well, if you can financially afford it, come in at the office technician typing level. You're 6 months on probation. In those 6 months, you are afforded 2 salary increases. Okay. Also, you are done in 6 months and you're a permanent state employee. I know someone who finishes probe, this person, in December, and she's already networked, met people, got familiar with the state, how we work, a little bit more confidence, and her manager wants to promote her to an SSA, a staff service analyst from an office technician. She has her bachelor's, like all of you will have or do have. She's going to increase her income by $1,000 a month, all because she came in at that because she came in at the low, right below the SSA level, entry level. So, I mean, where are we going to be in 6 months? If we can financially afford it, let's just do it. If you can, keep your options open. Keep applying for the SSAs and the AGP and the associate, the staff service analyst, that goes into an associate level, and then managerial or whatever, IT, wherever you want to go, you can go anywhere. You develop and create your future. So that's what's interesting too and unique about the state. I hope that helped.
Thank you, Michelle. All right. Katrina, I'm so sorry. You had your hand raised and you're on my second page, so I did not see you. But if you want to come off mute and ask your question, we'd be happy to answer.
No worries at all. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Perfect. I'm sorry, my chat box wasn't populating, or else I would have typed it. My apologies.
No worries.
I actually don't really know how to phrase this question, so I hope it makes sense. Can you walk through the experience of hiring an out-of-state person like myself who, may have never lived on the West Side, but, is very interested in like working out of state because they're like ready for a transition and to do something a little bit bigger? What is that process like for hiring? Is there a different set of onboarding for people like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So in order to, I guess, buy your first day of work, correct, Michelle, you have to have a permanent California residence address?
Yes.
Okay. So I can say that the process is going to be the exact same, whether you're applying from out of state or in state. It's just when you start your first day of work, you have to be able to provide us, you have to be a permanent California resident, right? All of our jobs, they're open to pretty much only California residents. Unfortunately, we can't hire outside of the state of California. But let's say you do want to move to the West Coast, you start applying, which is completely fine. You will just follow the same process as anybody who sits in California's process will be, if that makes sense. So there's nothing different you'll have to do or be able to do. It's just by the time you go through the interview process, we give you a start date. You'll just have to provide us your permanent California address. Michelle, is there anything you'd like to add to that one?
No, that is correct. You covered all the bases.
Okay, perfect. Katrina, did that help?
It did. Thank you very much.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Thank you. All right, so I know there's a few other questions in the chat. Amber's asking, what was the title of that position you mentioned before the SSA? I believe, Michelle, you mentioned an office technician. Oh, you already answered that. Okay.
No, but that's good. You could, to say it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So the position before that Michelle mentioned, it'd be an office technician, and then you could work your way up to that staff service analyst role. All right. Oh, perfect. It seems like there are a few questions, but you answered them. Thank you. All right. So does anybody
here? Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good. Go ahead.
I just wanted to say we are, this is our job. This is what we do. We're in recruitment, or I guess we're called right now talent acquisition. And that's what we do. We reach out, we try and we're supposed to be getting, filling our positions, which of course that is what we do. But we also, my team anyway, I can't speak for other agencies. We want to fill all state jobs and all state agencies. We want everyone to be able to have a safe and about as most reliable job that you can have in this crazy world we're in right now. And a state job, I've raised children, bought a small home. I plan on retiring soon. The time goes before you know it. I'm not trying to rain on your parade, but I mean, you guys are at or excuse me, you are at the height of your life right now, and you can go do anything and go anywhere. And as I would like to see you, all of you, um, get a job that is reliable, safe, and provides benefits and a retirement. So if you have the time and you are proactive to take a few minutes and go sit in the corner or when you're home or whatever, and just really just go ham on the website. You will see there's everything there on the website we gave you regarding careers throughout every state agency in Northern, Central, and Southern California. Every job that is out there, what they pay, the description of the job, what do you need, or what are they looking for, and everything else regarding retirement benefits and anything. And again, there's always our email if you need anything from us to assist you at any time.
Yes, I'm going to go ahead and put our email because I know we're running up against time right here. So if we did miss your question at all, please feel free to email us. We're happy to take your questions there. But I do not see any other questions in the chat. So maybe Corey, I could pass it back to you and your team.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so I just want to quickly give a thank you to Meha, Michelle, and Christopher for their time today. That was a ton of great information. Learned a ton. I hope you all did too. Some really great questions, both asking live and in the chat. And definitely take them up on it. If they're putting, those resources and, the emails out there to reach out to them and be proactive, because it does take some time to get into, different state work. So, but yeah, just wanted to thank the audience as well. Oh, go ahead, Michelle.
One last thing. If I'm not quite sure, I came in at the end of this, so I apologize. Are these all graduates or are they all still in school?
A little bit of both,
Okay.
Michelle. So the audience is pretty mixed. Yep.
Okay. For those of you who have not graduated yet, do not take any exam before the date of your graduation. I hope you're all listening. Chris, join me. Do not take any exam prior to the date of your graduation. Not a minute before, not a day before, because you want to be proactive like normal. The state, for some reason, has this itty bitty little blurb that says when you take an exam, you're saying you meet the minimum qualifications. Well, you're qualifying on having a degree. Well, December 1st is when you're graduating, but you're like, I'm on Thanksgiving vacation. I'm going to do it now. No, you're ineligible to take the exam again for 12 months. So do not take any exam prior to whatever date's going to be on your diploma. Okay?
Quick question from Jasmine. Does that go for both the bachelor's and a graduate?
No, just bachelor's. Well? Just bachelor's.
Okay. Excellent. Very important caveat and context there, Michelle, to add right at the end of the session here. That's awesome. So again, I want to thank our audience for joining us today. Hope you learned something. And again, my name is Corey White. I'm with the Employer Relations team here at SNHU Career. If you do need any assistance, this is very important too. If you do need any assistance with your resume, cover letter, anything like that, please, we have a whole team here dedicated of career advisors to help you one-on-one before you kind of, send out and apply everywhere. So you can reach us at cocecareer@snhu.edu or give us a call. I know my colleague Colleen just put it in the chat there. Definitely take advantage of it. It is a free service given to all our students and alumni forever, being here at SNHU. So definitely take advantage of it. Again, I want to thank our guests of honor today. Looking forward to working with you all moving forward. And I hope everyone has a great rest of the day. Take care. We'll see you on the next one.
everyone.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Thanks for having
Thank
us.
you. Bye.
Everybody, thanks.